Hello.
I can unmute myself now. Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Fine. Is it just us?
No, there's quite a few people on.
No.
But everyone's muted, so if you want to talk and get a couple words out, you have to unmute.
You're the only one I can see. It's good to see you.
You do. How's your summer going?
Fine. Yours?
Good, good. Got vacation coming in July, so.
Mine's coming next week, actually this week, well, Thursday. So.
No? Where's Zoom, Nikki?
You should have the link.
Read the app.
No, it's online, right?
Oh. Send
That's
me
okay.
the-
I'm just doing it this way now.
Send me the Zoom. So
It's okay.
this is better.
I also have the info technology on the computer if you want.
You can plug in your new thing.
Oh, yeah. Go to this one.
While I'm on earphone.
On my pants.
If you want the earphones, do different.
All right, so we'll give everyone a couple more minutes and then we'll get started. Thank you all so much for coming. Just to review, we'll do this live, and then I do have a recording going, so we'll have this available online for anyone that wants to view it afterwards. But thank you all so much for coming and participating today. Just so you all know, we had
I can sit look on my
173
computer in my office if you want, Mom.
for the regional show, and of those we had 320 artworks. So Amanda Cooper had quite a job to do in jurying the show, and she did a great job. So thank you so much, Amanda, for coming and doing that. Amanda is from St. Petersburg. She received her BA in art history from the University of Florida in 1997. Since 1999, she has worked as the curator of exhibitions, now the chief curator at the Morean Arts Center in St. Pete, where she has organized over 400 exhibitions, including works in all media by students, established and emerging artists, and children. She has also served as a juror for various exhibitions like ours, including the Dunedin Art Harvest, the Scholastic Art and Writing Awards exhibition, the Gasparilla Festival of the Arts, Folk Fest St. Pete, the Melbourne Arts Festival, and Art Fest Fort Myers, just to name a few. And she has also served on art panels for the Pinellas County and the state of Florida, awarding several public art projects and individual artist grants, and has been a member of the steering committee for the Shine Mural Festival since 2015. So welcome, Amanda. And what we'll do is we'll just go through the slides and allow everyone to comment and ask questions about each slide as we go through. I will share my screen, so I'll be very small, but you will be able to see all of the images very well. And like I said, everyone is muted right now, so if you want to speak, just unmute and we'll go ahead and get started. Does anyone have any questions or want to say anything at the moment? Okay, awesome. So, Amanda, without further ado, let's get started and I will share my screen. So I'm sharing this and please let me know if you can see it.
I can see it.
Okay, great. All right, so we will start with the first place winner, which is Carla Perona with Southgate. And a lovely piece.
Should I start talking?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, and I don't know if this messes up the format or not, but if the, I'll talk about each piece, and then if the artist happens to be on here and wants to chime in, I would love to hear their thoughts, or if I'm saying something that needs correction or embellishment, I would love to hear from the artist, because aside, I didn't have any of the names, obviously, when I was jurying. And then once Christina sent me the names, I realized I didn't know any of the artists. Actually, I found out I knew one of them because I had judged an art show with him, but I didn't know that at the time. I was happy to see a bunch of new faces, at least to me, and new works. So yeah, I picked this one, and I want to back up too and say that this was a really difficult choice. And I know that's something that the juror always says, but it's really true. It's there was so much good work in this show. I could have easily added, 10 more honorable mentions or merit awards. And it just goes to show how many amazing artists we have that are living in this area. We're so blessed and lucky to have such talent. It's just, having been in this industry for 23 years, it's a gold mine of artists here, and it's just terrific. So Carla Perona, this piece is called Southgate, as you can see, and it's an oil on canvas. And I was really drawn to this piece. I tend to gravitate more towards the quieter pieces, I guess you would say. So first of all, we'll just talk about the obvious. It's a very elongated kind of a panoramic image. It's a painting. It's a landscape of a parking lot. I did a little bit of research. I think I looked on her website and saw that it's a parking lot of a shopping retail area in Lakeland. And you see the cars in the foreground and the shopping center on the right, and then there's a building on the left. Apparently, I looked up the artist once I got her name, and I saw that she usually does figurative work, but there is no figures, at least that I could see in this piece. So I thought that was interesting. You can really see evidence of the rule of thirds in this piece, where the sky takes up 2/3, the top 2/3 of the image, and then the buildings and the parking lot take up the bottom third. And then going across vertically, you see the building on the left, and then there's a smaller building in the middle, and then the larger building on the right. So she does a really good job, either consciously or unconsciously, of dividing up into neat spaces. And it just makes your eye kind of wander around. There's good balance. You have that arch on the right from the Southgate building, which I love. It just has a nice retro feel to it. And then that is echoed on the left, where you have those great kind of rays of light softly coming in on the left over the parking lot. And then there's all kinds of movement in the sky with the clouds. I think the sky was rendered really, really beautifully. And I just love the softness of it, the kind of desaturated palette. And one thing I really, really appreciate and am drawn to is when an artist takes an everyday scene and just elevates it, kind of like makes the daily become divine, I think. So this is just an image of a parking lot and a retail space, which we all see every day here. But she just really elevated it to something very elegant. I just think it's a timeless image. And I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I don't know about anyone else, but it certainly transported me to another time. And I felt like the clouds and the light really took me into that other world. Any other thoughts about it? Thank you for coming, Carla.
Hi, thank you. Well, what you said is exactly what I'm trying to convey, that the message. And I'm really happy that I really did it, because I did it intentionally. The rule of the thirds and the balance, because I was working and then more in my mind, trying to know how to do it, because as you said before, I was working with figurative. I was working with more portraits and more with people. But when I arrived here in this city, I could see more the sky, because the topography of Florida, you can see more the sky. Have more mountains or something like that. So you can see the sky, and I thought that was divine. is God showing everything. That in that shopping center, they put artificial lighting in the night, so to enhance the arch. So I thought that the natural light is better than the artificial light. So I tried to show it, and I think it was hard for me, but I'm happy that you can see it. Thank you.
Great job. Very successful.
Thank you.
Nice.
Thank you.
All right, very good. Well, we'll move on to the second place winner. This is Lee Volk with Shane.
This piece, again, I was immediately drawn to this. In my personal, what I like personally in artwork, which I try to not focus so much on when I'm jurying a show. I'm trying to be a little more objective. I actually, if I was looking at a portrait versus a landscape, I'm always looking at the portrait first. So the first and second place was a difficult choice for me. I thought this was a really strong portrait. Again, a little understated. It's a portrait of rendered in charcoal of a person in, I guess you would call it 2/3 or 3/4 view. One thing that intrigued me is the ambiguity of the person that's rendered here. To me, it was difficult to tell if it was a young person or an adult, or even male and female. I had my thoughts about it, but I loved the ambiguity there, and even the expression. They have that kind of Mona Lisa look where it's like, are they concerned? Are they happy? Is that a smile? I don't know. I just loved all the kind of the mystery around it. And the mystery is carried further. You see the figure is rendered very detailed in the face, even though there's a softness there. But you see the darkness that is around the face, which makes the contrast really high, makes it really stand out. And then all of that darkness kind of fades away as you get to the bottom half of the artwork with the figure's clothing. And so everything kind of, your eye is drawn up to that beautiful, incredible face. And I love those two little pinpoints in their eyes there that just kind of makes it, they're just so soulful. I just thought this was an incredible portrait. And the contrast between the detail of the face and the kind of hastily created. I'm not saying that the artist did it quickly, but it just looks like more gestural in the background, you know, the quick brush strokes or charcoal marks with the clothing and the background. And then I looked the artist up online and I saw that this is a portrait of course, the name is Shane, and Shane is a local magazine reporter from the Philippines. And Shane is wearing a necklace that is considered to be, the beads in the necklace are considered to be sacred to the tribe that she is from. And so that was interesting, getting that background that I wasn't aware of. I also love the stain in the background. It has some kind of stain. You can see it, it kind of makes like a brownish halo around her head on the right side there that I think it's a really cool, it might have been an accident or a happy accident, I don't know, but I just think it's really effective. Just a really haunting, beautiful portrait.
Yeah, the stain is so interesting. I don't know if it's coffee or tea or age on the paper, or I wish the artist was here, she could tell us.
Yeah, I really liked her her other piece in the show too. That was really nice.
Yeah, that was a great piece as well.
Yeah, the soft edges, this portrait is a great example of soft edges. It's high contrast, uses pretty much the whole value spectrum, but the whole face is surrounded by soft edges. It's dark against dark. It's very nice.
It's also very nice to see a charcoal piece. The medium is the finished product. It's really nice to see that black and white and not just a study for the finished piece.
That's a good point.
Yeah, and I think the combination of the important detail, the realistic detail in the face, along with the marks on the rest of the paper and the softness and the fading out, and not necessarily showing every single detail of her neck and so forth. Just beautifully done, very strong.
Absolutely. Right. So we're coming up to a totally different piece here. This is David Fithian's Quiet Pool. So a little bit of a contrast from the previous two.
Yeah, I remember when I said I like quiet pieces, so this isn't a quiet piece. I actually loved both of his this artist's paintings in the show, but I kind of lean towards this one a little more. So it's a very stylized painting, oil on canvas, large scale painting of a pool. I assume it's a hotel pool right on the edge of a body of water. A lot of things going on here. I like it, kind of has that, I mean, while it's very Floridian, certainly the imagery, it just, the style of it kind of has that California feel a little bit to me. And I looked up the artist, and this is from his Florida series. He calls it atmospheric realism. So I thought that was an interesting way to describe this. And it also has a retro feel, which apparently I also like. And it looks like it's taken from an interesting perspective, maybe somebody standing on a balcony of the hotel looking out, or I don't know, it could even be somebody standing on a diving board and at the other end of the pool. You've got the slide on one end, so it could be a diving board or something, but I just like the perspective of kind of looking down on this. I like the texture of the brush strokes. I mean, it's very stylized and kind of flat, but then if you look at it closely, like if you look at that pink wall, there's all kinds of color detail going on in there. I like the movement of the water, both in the pool and in the the Gulf or the ocean that's in the background. You can kind of feel it moving, even though everything's sort of flat and stylized. And you've got all the lines coming in. You've got the pool at the diagonal, and then you've got the slide coming in at a diagonal, which, you know, helps your eye move around the painting. His color palette is very interesting. You've got the warm and the cool. You've got the cool, you know, lots of blue in there, but you've also got that orange edge of the pool, and then the yellow, I don't know what those are there, but the yellow things on the benches that just make it very interesting. And the fact that there's no people in there, I find that very interesting too. It's just it's a touristy scene kind of, but there's no tourists or people in there. So great painting.
Yeah, I feel like the brush strokes really make it feel like the painting is just gonna go walk off the wall, and makes it feel really alive and funky, and has this like childhood kind of feeling, for me anyway. I don't know if anyone else has any comments or thoughts. No? Okay. All right, well, we'll move on to the next piece, which is our first merit award. This is Tony Reineman. I hope I said that right. Danger on a Sutton Place Terrace. And Tony is here today, I believe.
I am here. I don't know if you can hear me.
Hi, Tony.
I am unmuted, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
So I really love this piece. I guess I should stop saying that because clearly I loved all of these, but I kept going back to this because, again, like the portrait at the beginning, you know, and it's a black and white drawing, it in the middle of a bunch of amazing colorful paintings, it's easy to just pass by a work like this, and it's on the smaller side too, but I just kept going back to it. There's so much going on here. It's just, I mean, your eye just moves everywhere here. And so it's a nighttime scene of an interior space, and you're looking out onto I'm bad at geography. It's a bridge in New York.
It's in, yeah, it is in Manhattan. Yeah.
So just as an aside, so of course I didn't know the artist, didn't know any background on this piece. It looked very cinematic to me, and I loved that. So once Christina sent me the PowerPoint, and I saw the artist's name, and I looked you up, Tony, on the internet, and I saw that it was from a movie. So I have a 17-year-old son who is obsessed with old films. So I sent him a screenshot of it, and I said, what do you think of this work of art? And he got back to me in 2 seconds, and he says, that looks like it's from Sorry, Wrong Number.
It is.
And I'm like, it is. So I just love that my teenage son knew that. And then he was telling me all about the movie. And so I just thought that was really, really funny and cute. So, but if you don't know anything about the movie, and I haven't seen the movie, it's just a very dramatic scene where there's this desk and the cats, and you know, you put a cat in there and it just kind of rings my bell too. So, but there's just so much happening. There's so many, I want to say texture. I mean, it's pencil, so there's not literal texture, but just what he coaxes out of that pencil. I mean, you have the softness of the curtain and the light. I mean, it looks like there's really a light on there, contrasted with the details of the leaves right outside the window. There's just that hard and that soft contrast. And I love the composition with the open glass door to the terrace. So your eye just moves right out there. And then there's a bird there too. And it's just symbolic to me of, you know, your eye, you just fly right out there. And there's that bird who is, you know, represents us looking out there. But I know there's a story of it related to the movie, but even if you didn't know anything about it, which I didn't, it just is fun to just sit there and think, okay, who was just sitting at this desk and what are all those cats doing and who's that a picture of and what just happened? It looks like maybe something just happened and now the person, again, no people, which I think just really makes it interesting, and the triangle of the three cats. But just a beautifully done drawing.
Thanks, thank you. The drawing basically was something that was mulling around in my head for years. There are certain film noir movies that stuck with me for years. And there's certain imagery in some of these films, especially Sorry Wrong Number, which I think is a great film when it comes to a classic film noir, low level lighting and the mood and the sinister characters that are lurking in the shadows. And, I lived in New York for many years, and all my paintings basically deal with New York City. And I've been thinking about doing a series of drawings based on film noir movies, and not necessarily movies, but just the whole idea of the effects of film noir on a drawing. With the lighting and the atmosphere. So this image was something that I've been thinking of doing for a long time, then I forgot about it. I moved to Florida and I just finished a painting and I figured, I don't know what I'm going to do next. And I decided, let me start doing these drawings. And this is one of them based on that film. Now, I had a cat, his name was Rex. So I wanted to do a tribute to my cat. So I put him in this drawing. And also the falcon, which so happened in New York City, they take up nests in a lot of apartment buildings. So I wanted to include this falcon because he's considered the antagonist in this image. And the cats are they're the ones that are in danger. So the river is the Hudson River, and that's the 59th Street Bridge in the distance. Now, in the movie, I don't know if it's based in New York, but there's a scene where there is a bridge outside the window of her apartment building, and it's Barbara Stanwyck, who eventually is murdered at the end of the film. So I take it's New York, and I wasn't sure, but I really wanted to incorporate my love for New York City into this drawing. And also my love for animals and my cat, who I no longer have, and wildlife. So I wanted to combine everything in a black and white drawing, which I hadn't really concentrated because everything has been color that I've worked in. And now I'm devoted now to doing a lot of black and whites. So that's the history of this drawing, basically.
That is interesting too, to look at it and see, it's an ode to New York City, but there's so much nature in there. You've got the water, you've got the tree looking thing on the left, and then the greenery going all the way across the balcony, and then of course all the animals in there. I mean, it's a really good balance of all those
things. So now that I'm in Florida, I'm going to start exploring nature.
Well, yeah.
My work, because everything was city and brick. So now it's going to be more green and leaves and plants and animals. So it's a challenge. Anyway.
Nice work. Now I have to go watch the movie. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I'm done. Go ahead.
I'm done.
The detail is just impeccable. I'm from New York, so it reminds me of home for sure. But yeah, I just have a little space in my heart for it.
Oh, thanks. I'm obsessed with detail. I can get my paintings and my work done a lot faster if I didn't put detail into it, but it wouldn't be me. So I can't help myself when it comes to the detail.
Tony, I'd love to hear a little bit more about your process, as this is based on a film. Was this a stop frame or something?
So what,
Is
yes.
this an actual scene from the film? Is this your memory of the film?
All right, so the film was on television, so there were a couple scenes that I recall from this movie, so I ended up taking a picture of the TV screen, and I couldn't really make out a lot of the detail of that frame. So basically what is in this is my it's my own imagination put into this frame from that film. Then the cats, the phone, everything has been basically changed from the original frame of that film. I just wanted to recreate the composition, and then I wanted to put my portraits of my cat into the image, and then I really wanted to create some kind of a dynamic going on, some kind of narrative and story. So, you know, it was going to be an open door from a terrace, which this bird comes down, flies onto the terrace, and you don't know if he's going to come in to get those cats or whether or not the cats are going to go after him. But basically, you know, the scene from this movie is the scene they show right after Barbara Stanwyck is murdered. And it is such a dramatic scene, and it stuck with me for years, just that view. And like I said, I wasn't sure if that was supposed to be New York City. I assumed it was. As she's being murdered, you hear a subway train going over the bridge. And I know the 59th Street Bridge doesn't have any trains that run through it. Maybe it did back in the 40s, but that's how the image came about, was basically starting out with that footage from that film. And then I added to it, and I enhanced it basically, and added things to it. You know, repositioned the table that was in the chair, in the window. I enlarged the terrace window. You know, I just love that visual. So that's how I started out creating this image.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right, so the next merit award is Gianna Santucci with Bottoms Up.
I also want to say too, this is such a treat hearing from the artists, because, you know, I can talk about the work and, you know, we can discuss it and all that, which we are, but it's just so interesting to hear what the artist has to say about their work. So thank you for that. This was a terrific painting that I kept going back to. It's a oil on canvas, square format, which I happen to really like, and it's kind of just a snapshot, a scene of people at a party. And again, it's just an everyday scene. I mean, we've all been at a party like this at some point in our lives. These look like younger people, maybe college age, who knows? But we can all relate and put ourselves into this. Again, a mundane situation that's just rendered so beautifully, and that the artist thought was important to capture forever on this canvas. And so there's a lot going on in here. First of all, I love that it looks like a photograph, the way it's cropped, and the way that it just shows a moment in time. You know, these people aren't posing. It's just a literally like a snapshot of what's happening at this party. They're all, you know, cheers to something. And first of all, you know, there's all kinds of things you can talk about it being a party scene. You know, it seems like a throwback now, right? We're just still coming out of COVID, and seeing people at a party still is a little maybe wistful feeling, like, oh, we used to do that. And hopefully we will again. So I appreciated that aspect of it, that it's sort of like a throwback to a few years ago, maybe. I would love to know, I don't know if the artist is here, but if the artist actually worked from a photograph. And I like that your eye kind of moves all over. There's lots of lines, lots of things happening. You've got the lines of the arms up there kind of in the middle, and the focal point to me is the glasses and the cans right there in the center, and the hands. I know from the little bit of art classes that I've done, hands are notoriously difficult to render, and I think she just does such a great job. They're so beautifully done in different poses, holding things, just a great job there. So the focal point is these people cheering, and you see all of their faces are directed towards their hands. So your eye is drawn to that. And I love that it's sort of, unless it's just me, it's sort of ambiguous, especially on the left side, you know, I assume it's that guy's arm, the guy with the glasses, but it just seems like there's extra body parts there, like there's another person, maybe a fifth person back there that you don't see. But again, I just really like the way that she cropped it. And then even the background, again, just a nondescript kitchen in an apartment or whatever. It's nothing fancy, but just done so well. I like the line back there, that little in the car, it would be pinstriping. I don't know what you call it on the wall there, but that just little detail that draws your eye back there. And then the cabinets are kind of rendered on a slant. It's just such an interesting perspective, and I appreciate that you kind of feel like a fly on the wall, like you're part of that. You just don't have your arm out, that it, you know, participating, but you're there watching it.
I think the smiles on everyone's faces like immediately make you happy and smile and just like transport you to the party.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like the composition of the hands all kind of intertwined in the center of that piece. It's interesting composition that she created.
All right, well, the next piece is honorable mention, Tony Souza, Federal Style Living Room, circa 1800. And this is quite a large piece, 36 by 60.
Yeah, this was a big piece, so it was hard to miss this one, and I just liked it so much. And again, like some of the other ones, I just like the artists that had multiple pieces. They were just all so good. So this is a kind of a straightforward rendering of an interior space. He tells us Federal Style Living Room, 1800. He has a very unique style that I didn't see elsewhere in the show. Kind of a flat, there's not really any shading, just kind of faithful rendering. There's an earnestness to this that I really love. And again, no people. It even took me a while to find the dog in there over to the left. I liked the patterns in it. There's patterns going on everywhere, in the rug, in the ceiling, on the bookshelf, and the repetition. It just kind of keeps your eye moving around the space, which I really liked. And I love how that front door isn't right in the center, it's kind of off to the side, and you have that side room going off to the left. So it's not, I think if the door was dead center, it wouldn't be as interesting. I like how the outside is coming in. I mean, it's definitely an interior shot, but you see the greenery through the window, and even how the ceiling is handled, where it looks like you know, like a painting of a sky kind of brings the outside in. Really like that. And I like the, this is terrible, I'm married to a history teacher, so I should know this, but I'm like, okay, if this, this painting is circa 1800, there's that painting above the one fireplace of the soccer player that does not look like it's from the 1800s. So could be, I don't know, do they have soccer back then? I don't know, but it just seems like kind of anachronistic, and I really, really like that.
And the dog is collage, I think.
Ah,
It's not painted on, it's just stuck on there,
okay.
which is very interesting as well.
Well, that makes sense because it looks differently handled than the rest of it, so that makes sense.
I don't know for sure, but I think I heard that this was actually the artist's family's home.
Oh,
And so everything was rendered sort of like as it was there without, you know, the actual perspective and all that. But so the dog is a real dog, and I think the soccer player is like his nephew or somebody.
oh, cool.
So it's very meaningful to him.
Hmm.
And this is the third piece that we've seen by him recently, and the attention to detail and just the curious nature of the way he paints is so heartwarming and refreshing in a way.
Very unique style.
Very unique, yeah. All right, so the next honorable mention is Elena Pampa with Sunday Float at Siesta.
So
And
here you have,
Elena is here.
oh, great.
Hi.
Hello. So we have a landscape here. I wasn't sure what the medium was when I was there, but I saw once the PowerPoint was sent to me that it's hand-painted tissue collage on canvas, which, I mean, I could tell it wasn't a straightforward painting, but I didn't know what the medium was. So I found that very interesting. And, you know, obviously beach scenes are very common around this area, and a lot of artists do them, but this one I just felt was really sweet, and I really liked the color scheme. So here you have a beach scene with two little girls walking along the shore with the city in the background. And compositionally, I really liked the weight of the two figures with the darkness of the cityscape, and then the darkness in the upper left and the clouds, and just the triangle that they make just, again, keeps your eye moving around. I really, really liked that. And the color scheme with the blues contrasted with that bright light. It's bright, but it's soft, and with the reflection, it's just kind of a sweet moment in time. And I kept looking at the raft that the girl is holding. I just really love that little chunk of the painting there. It looks sort of translucent, like you can see her leg through it. And just the green pop of color and the little shiny part. It's just, I don't know why, I just thought it was, that part of it was so beautiful. And I love how the other girl's walking around with the inner tube around her waist. You know, that's just what you do. Why would you carry it when you can wear it? So I just thought that was really sweet. Great work.
Thank you. Yes, I actually worked off a photograph. I took it out at Siesta, and I saw these two girls out there playing. And I've had that photograph sitting around for years and years and years. And that green float just grabbed me so much. And I've been working in collage for a while. But this particular scene, I'd never worked with tissue paper before. I'd always just worked with I was painting papers and collaging them. And I was thinking, gosh, I really wanted this like iridescence. And so I thought, oh, what if I did it on tissue? Because then I could layer it. And when I started working on that part, then I realized how much that translucency of the tissue paper, just all of the colors blended. Like the whole sky was just layered and layered and layered. And every time I put a layer on, instead of dulling it and flattening it, it just seemed to enhance, like all the other colors showed up underneath. And so it was really fun to work with.
It's a great medium choice. I don't know, you don't see that very often. And I love that one. I feel like all the vanishing point, all the diagonal lines are pointing to that, not only the sun in the center, but that one tiny little tree at the end of the landscape. Like, this is what amazes me about artists. Like, how did you know to put that little tiny thing there?
Just a little hint.
I really like that a lot.
Thanks.
I also think the simplicity of the tissue paper sort of mimics like the simplicity of the day at the beach. And it just sort of makes it sing like really, really nicely. All right, very good. So the next honorable mention is Home by Zika Zuzin. And this is a sculptural piece. And it's 3D printed in biodegradable plant-based plastic.
I wondered if it was 3D printed. It looked like it. So I like this piece of I looked up the artist, and they said that they were influenced by Bauhaus and constructivism. And I have a poster that I got on my honeymoon that's like a Bauhaus design, and it looks very similar to this. So I really, really like this imagery. And it's called Home, which obviously that word has many connotations, and it looks to be an abstract sculpture with different lines and a lot of movement, even though obviously it's a static piece. I like all the vertical lines and the horizontal lines, and then you have that nice, beautiful curve that kind of bisects it and gives it a softness. And then the two little spherical sculptures that really softens the angularity of the piece and gives it that pop of color and all the black there. To me, looking at it, it really, I mean, it's called Home, and to me it looks like almost a portrait of a family. Like you have the one figure on the left, and then you have the curving one might be somebody else, like say a couple, and then the spheres or the children. That's just, I don't know, that might be just my perspective of it, but that's kind of what I thought looking at it, and which could also relate to home, the people who are living in it.
Yeah, I definitely see the figures there in the gold pieces.
Yeah, really nicely done.
All right, well, last but not least, we have Brian Jones with Pink. This is a photograph.
So I thought this was a terrific photograph. This is very classic Florida. You know, you have this building and it's kind of cropped interestingly. I looked, again, when I got sent the PowerPoint, I looked up all these artists and looked at their other work, and he does a lot of, he does a whole series of these similar buildings, and a lot of them are more straightforward, like you're looking at them from a distance and you see the whole building. So it's interesting that for this one, he chose to make it more in your face, like you're walking up to it instead of looking at it from a distance. And I just love that it's this nondescript building, very, you know, not very embellished, made of concrete. But this is Florida, so we're going to paint it pink, which again, I just love that. And the contrast of the very industrial looking building painted pink with that pop of blue in the upper left with the little tree, little greenery that's coming through. I just love that contrast. The color there in the upper left is just really beautiful. And then of course we have the graffiti because we have plenty of that around here, although that's not special to Florida. You know, you have that everywhere, but I just really love that, you know, and you wonder about the building. Is it an abandoned building? Is it an apartment? What is it for? So there's the tension there between the sweet color scheme and the graffiti and the concrete, the texture of the building. So when I read that this is from his Sarasota photo essay, contrasting the old and the new South. Oh, you're here.
I am here.
Hi, Brian.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
Listen, thank you so much for your very kind words. Yeah, I'm like most folks, or many folks here, I'm a transplant. I've been in Florida about 3 years and 2 weeks. So yeah, and I've been a photographer a long time. So this is part of a series that has taken a life of its own. There's another piece that's in the show. I've been photographing in color and with infrared capture. The other piece that's in the show is monochromatic infrared. So at any rate, I'll tell you, one of the interesting things about Sarasota is that there isn't a lot of pink compared to Boca Raton or Miami or whatever. You actually don't see it that often in the confines of Sarasota, which is one of the reasons that I was attracted to it. And we also, relative to other places like New York, Chicago, just got back a couple of days ago from Laguna Beach out in California. We don't have a whole lot of graffiti either. So relative to other places. So they're just some interesting things. Yeah, so this project is kind of morphed from one thing, which is what happens, I guess, with projects that they become a part of your life, to very much my look at Sarasota, which I have to tell you, I love it. Having been in June gloom is what they call it on the West Coast, where it's in the low 60s and gray. I cannot tell you how happy I was to get back home, where it's, you know, it's beautiful and it's hotter than the gates of hell. So I was actually out riding my bike in it earlier today. But there are certain things about it. So yes, I really appreciate your comments. I mean, it's kind of an anomaly, but it's part of a much bigger project that has changed as I have changed since getting here. So it continues to grow.
That comment's funny. Old people don't graffiti.
Yeah, you know, we don't. I've been places where there's a whole lot more than we have.
You know, if I could say something about this, when I look at this, I see like something that was really pristine, the fine lines, the kind of mid-century modern look to it, and you can see what it was. But also now you can see that it's fallen into disrepair and the kind of decay all the way up to the little metal bracing, whatever, coming over the top of the building by the tree. And it's just kind of an interesting concept of what was and what currently is falling into decay. I find that interesting with this.
No, thank you.
Yeah, and Brian, when I went on your website, I just really like that whole series that you're working on. I really love when you see someone who isn't from here, how they see this area. So someone like me, I've spent my whole life here, so I tend to overlook, or you just don't pay attention anymore, and it's really a treat to see how an artist, especially one, not especially, because artists who live here forever too have an interesting perspective of this area, but I just really appreciate how you see this place.
Thank you. We have fallen in love with it. We
Aw.
didn't just pick it out of a hat. It was a long and painful process. So, but anyway, it's a very interesting place.
Well, I can certainly say that, you know, all these pieces that you chose as the winners, they all sort of transport you into their own world. And I think that's really, really telling about your jurying process and, you know, what you were looking for, Amanda, and what you wanted to bring to the show. And, you know, I think was really successful. Because in each one of these, you know, we're transported to a different place, and they're all so different, but they're great, all of them.
It's amazing. Like I said, I mean, these artists, and again, there was nothing bad in the show. Just everything was just fantastic. I'm constantly amazed at the talent here. You guys are just incredible. And thank you for this opportunity for me to give my opinion about this amazing work. You know, I'm just a voice and a person with an opinion. So it's an honor for me to be able to look at your work and talk about it. And just I'll be thinking about it for a long time to come.
Thanks for your efforts.
Thank you so much, Amanda. So I will be posting this online if anyone wants to take a look at it later. And just as a reminder, the show is up through August 6th. So pickup of unsold work is not until August 8th and 9th. And the next juried show is going to be Pop. So if anyone is interested in that, the deadline for that is August 7th. So you've got quite a while. And then we'll go on a little break, and we're getting the floors redone. So the next jury show is going to be even more beautiful with new floors, and hopefully you all will appreciate it very much. So for now, it's going to be a little radio silent from me, but I hope you all have a great summer, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you very much.
All right, bye.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Amanda.